We started speaking about Erech HaPayim, about not getting angry, being patient. Patient in the sense of like not getting angry. That's what Erech HaPayim means. And from there, we offshooted how important our Torah was, which was really, really important in recognizing our chelik in Torah and how it's silly to speak about Kinyanei HaTorah if we don't care about our chelik in Torah, however big and small, whether we're going to be the posek ador or just another regular yidel, it doesn't make a difference. And the Rebbeinu Shalom is deeply appreciative of our Torah. Avodas loves our Torah, each person's chelik, etc. And that was a great offshoot. And we spoke last time about how that's the way of Avad, is you get to these offshoots and you have to embrace, welcome, and be excited about an offshoot and see that that's kind of like what it's all about, because we're discovering all different types of things. It's not a cookbook. And just like in a sugya, you learn a regular sugya, and then you suddenly see a question of the Chazon Ish or something else. You realize, oh, this is where the sugya is. It's a new place than where I was, and that's so important. Okay, but I do want to now get back to we offshooted and we opened that up well, and what I wanted to get back to was this idea of Erech HaPayim, a little bit how it relates. And I think I have something very important to share about this. Let's just remember, generally, we touched on this, but how does Erech HaPayim, again, one of the Kinyanei HaTorah is Erech HaPayim. So the Tiferes Yisrael said it's very practical. A person who's angry is machlish charitzus vazikara begamaguf. Getting angry, as modern medicine knows very well, weakens a person's body. Someone who's angry just doesn't have koach. You're not sharp and you don't remember as well. So that's very obvious. A person wants to be a Talmid Chacham called Echad on his level, and he's getting angry all the time, and his mental faculties and physical faculties are less because of his anger. That's not going to work. And the Maharal brought the famous Chazal, which is Rashi and Chumash, I believe, that if a person's kohes, his Chacham is mistalik from him. Now that's what I want to focus on more. In general, I think I might have said also that my sense is the people in the Vaad aren't angry people so much. I hope that's true. And if you are an angry person, work on it. There are ways to work on it. Sally Bliston has books on it, but if you're regularly angry, really eating yourself up inside and full of little anger and angst and all that, it needs a lot more work than the Vaad or two that we're going to focus on it. So, but the point I want to speak about is like this. Listen carefully. It says that in kois chachmas mistalekes mimenu. Person gets angry, his chacham is mistalik from him. Right? As I think it said by Moshe. I think the lashon is balachlal kas balachlal tos. Moshe didn't know the halacha at a certain place. Moshe didn't because of the anger. Again, we don't want to guess things. I don't remember the exact nusach, but it was around that point. But okay. Im kois chachma mistalekes. That means, listen carefully, that there's a certain point that kas and chachma don't go together. It's a no can go, right? Your kas doesn't go with it. And what I want to sidestep that a little bit, and obviously that means we shouldn't get angry, but here's the point, which I think is very important, and b'siyat d'shmaya, we're going to make it very, very relevant to our lives. And maybe we're not always facing situations of kas per se, but what it says to me is this: Chachma needs a matzav to flourish. Chachma Satorah needs a certain matzav to flourish, right? It needs a certain space. The Gemara in Megillah says tzlusa, shmaitza boy tzlusa. Shmaitza needs clarity. The Gemara there is talking about. It's the fourth parak about a certain Amor, maybe it was Rav, wanted to go into a shul, which he couldn't necessarily go into the shul because of Kampandaria, etc. And he went into the shul when it was raining because he wanted to learn. Not that he wasn't worried about rain on his head. Rav used to say, I heard him say, if someone, I think maybe even I tried, but I was definitely around when people tried to put a umbrella over him. He said, I'm not made out of sugar. And he lost me sukar. It didn't bother him to have a little bit of rain falling on his head. I'm not going to dissolve because of the sugar. I'm not made out of sugar. So Rabbi didn't care about that. But that's what I heard him say. And maybe even more than once. But but the Amora had to go into the shul because the rain coming down all the time, you can't think, right? So when someone's angry, and we've all been there, imagine right now you take a complex problem and you're angry. No. So again, the im koes chachmachim mistalekes, it sounds even something more spiritual and things like that. But what I want to focus on is just kind of like the practical, when a person's angry and that matzav of angst, of agitation, of being all over the place, so that doesn't fit with chachma. Yeah? Real anger is a great example that I'm really angry, so I can't focus in my head. I'm too all over the place. So in a more general way, what that says to me is this, friends, that Chachma needs a matzav. Yes, making sense? Chachma needs a matzav of and we don't appreciate this today a lot, right? It's like imagine yourself all angry, all worked up, and now I'm open up a Gemara. It doesn't work. You need a calmness of mind. Shmaitza boitz lusa. Shmaitza boi and Shmaitza learning needs tlilusa. Tzilus adas needs clarity, needs calmness, a calm mind. I speak a lot about Reb Shimon Bar Yochai's cave. It's every like vulnerably nether, and I other times also because I think it's such a good dugma. Sham kanisa hodcha hadarecha. In that cave, Reb Shimon was kona his hodva his hader. Maris surim Shebarachta, etc. Sham kanisa hodcha hadarecha. Sham kanisa hodcha hadarecha. The hod and the other, all the hod and all the hod, all the glory and the beauty and the honor that was Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. He was kona in a cave, and I like to say all the time that we have to create our own caves. Shalom Bayis is a cave, and calmness is a cave, and in learning, you have to create a cave for yourself. And now. Usually, what I mean by that, listen carefully, is that don't let other influences in. Right? Take your phone, put it in airplane mode, set an alarm, zone in. And I usually talk about that mashal just in terms of itself, in terms of like non-distractions. But now I want to talk about it in terms of like erech apayim, meaning erech apayim is when you think about a person who's patient with others, who's erech apayim, who's not getting angry, right? What's the vibe of that person? He's been the emus, he's gentle, he's nice, right? Talk about a very big captain, angry, matal ema al kol hatzibur. He walks in, this one that, this kid this his wife that, right? Everybody's nervous around him, like some people they walk in, everybody's nervous, oh no, what's he going to see wrong, and what mistake did I make this time, and what, and the person of erech apayim, of patience, of not anger, has a pleasantness. But here's the point that I want to get to. Besides, it's nicer to be around someone of erech apayim than someone of impatience, right? I hope everybody can have a picture in my mind. There's something like impatient people, you're on shpilkas around them, right? So the patient person, the erech apayim person, the person like, okay, you made a mistake, say it or no, he said, he did, she did, etc. By the way, it's a big segula for shalom bayis. A woman or a man feels like I can never get it right. The woman feels like I'm always going to get it wrong. It's not good for shalom bayis. The man feels I can never say she's always making, I'm always saying the wrong thing. That's lack of erech apayim. Again, we talk about it in terms of kaptanas, but it's also an overall, that's also being a captain. But I think a lot of being a captain or not a captain, a lot of being too exacting with people is are you in a matzav nafshi of erech apayim, of being long, of not angry. You're not so angry, you're not so uppity, you're not so this, like people make mistakes, like take it easy. It's okay. It's okay. It's a hard thing sometimes because you want to run things carefully. Things like I know giving a shear, right? I am specific with Talmidim, but if I'm uptight, it's very different when you're tight. Now, I've trained myself a lot in yeshiva. It used to be when I came for Shabbos, I used to be much, much more uptight. I was running the program. I was used to now I make an active effort myself to be calmer. I think the guys are going to enjoy it much more. You have to run it. You have to run the Shabbos anyway and keep things moving. But there's a way of running the Shabbos when you feel like, you're uptight. That's like the opposite of erech apayim. You're not necessarily getting outwardly angry. You're holding it in. But when people feel like you're holding in your uptightness, that's the opposite of erech apayim. Yes. All right. You hear what I'm saying? Erech apayim is like I'm calm. Now, how does that relate to Torah? So I think the way it relates to Torah is this: is here's the point. That same matzav of I'm not uptight. I'm not waiting for the next mistake. I'm not about to pounce on a person. That's the mindset of calm and not anger. That's the matzav the Torah needs. To look at a sugya well, you have to be calm. If you're uptight and agitated and moving and doing a zillion things and the phones are ringing and you can't concentrate, you can't fully get into the learning the right way, right? So again, it's I'm being marketed a little bit, but I think this is partially at least what Erech HaPaim is about. That the Erech HaPaim personality, that's what I'm saying. The person's not getting angry, the person's not getting uptight, the person who's calm. So he's hitting that sweet spot for learning of Shmaitza Boitz Lusa of, and he's going to learn in a better way. He's going to learn in a better ofen. And that, now let's think about it, that makes a lot of sense as one of the Kinyanei HaTorah. It's not just the way the Maharal is saying that if you get angry, the Chacham is going to mistalik. The way I'm learning it is in that family of ideas is that the Erech HaPaim allows me to engage in the Torah the right way. Just like in a very simple way, why Talmud? Talmud is the first of the Kinyanei HaTorah. Why is Talmud the first of the Kinyanei HaTorah? Because Kinyanei, being Kona the Torah is all about learning. If you learn, you have a chance to be Kona the Torah. If you don't learn, so if you don't learn the right way, you're not going to be Kona the Torah. So Erech HaPaim, I'm learning is like the way to be Kona the Torah. The way to give a shear is to be Erech HaPaim, to be patient. You can keep guys on there. You can keep guys on their toes, but if everybody's nervous around you the whole time, it's not going to go in our generation for sure. Warren Shabbos talks about. I think the riot to that is Milchas de B'chusa, opening up the shir with Milchas de B'chusa. Milsa de Bechusa with a joke. You open the shir with a joke, that gets the Darchei Chachma open. That's the opposite. That's Erech HaPaim. But someone who's around, someone who's always edgy, who's nervous, who's angry, who's uptight, is going to zing you. Now I know there's another way. In the European yeshivas, a lot they were very, very, very sharp, and sometimes that's one way. There might be an approach like that, but the approach that I'm putting across is more like the calm, you know, on the point, but openness, a place where people can, where you can think, and you can delve in when you're be'erech HaPayim, when you're in this calm place and you're patient. So then you're not uptight all the time, and then you can engage in the Torah the right way and get the message of the Torah the right way. Talmud means I'm learning as much as possible. Erech HaPayim is helping me make the most out of my learning opportunities. I'll put these two kinyanim working together. Talmud means I'm learning all the time. I got to learn all the time to become the Torah. Erech HaPayim means that you have to be in a certain mindset in order to make the most of your learning about. Let's say someone learns all the time, but they're always angry. Let's imagine that person. Like my wife did this, and my boss did this, and my kids did that, and I have tinus on this one, tinus on that one, etc. But Baruch Hashem, I have 12 hours to learn. Your mind is not free. Your mind is not free to engage in the Torah to smach bochur b'yaldusecha. The pasuk says that's by how b'divrei Torah ksiv. More in Shabbos Samakim like that. Smach bochur b'yaldusecha. Be happy in your learning. Take it easy. Just jump into the learning. Dive in. You can't dive in because I'm so betainis and I'm so angry and I'm so uptight and I'm so upset and I'm so agitated and how can I learn? I have to like turn it all off and then I can finally focus. But the Erech HaPayim, the person of calm, he's in a place where his mind is calm and he can dive in. The Metzil Sherm says, keep going. 16, nice. Then what does he say? Yeah, speak up, Byron. Tell me.
We learned in the anger Vaad, which was the first Middos Vaad 6 years ago, that the Ramchal says that the effect of anger is that it causes a person to lose their seichel. They can't think properly.
That's what I'm trying to get to. That's the
right. So that is what anger does.
Right. That's what I think you. Right. That's what anger. Thank you very much, Yeshakov. Right. That's what anger and seichel don't go together. That's what I'm trying to get across. So it's a whole matzav, right? Imagine that, like a person, no, we're just gonna. Again, I don't want to take it too much into the realm of teaching because there's something in teaching to keep people sharp also. But like I hope everybody knows that, right? Some kids, for sure, there are many kids who go off the derech and they'll tell you that they hate learning Gemara, or kids that didn't go off the derech, they'll tell you they hate learning Gemara. And the pshat is pashut. They don't hate learning Gemara. They never learn Gemara. They hate the way their father makes them feel when they learn Gemara. Because their father was so uptight with them. No, 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 no. So, and that made a visceral connection. Their connection to when they open a Gemara, they're hearing their father's voice, and now they didn't make it sweet. There's no sweetness to it. So again, there are two ways to teach, and I myself engage in both. But I know you have to give a certain calmness to you also. Again, different teachers teach differently, and there are very good Talmudic teachers that are very, very sharp and very, very on the ball, and you gain something with that approach also. So I don't want to decide with that, but I'm talking about the mindset, right? The mindset of chavrusa. Someone thinks he's a chavrusa he's gonna kill him anytime he says something wrong. Eventually it's not going to work, right? The anger is not sicklistic. So that's what I was very happy with this. It's because you hear what I'm saying. I in my mind we took the sugi from just being like this kind of like spiritual chachma mistalik to a mindset of engagement in chachma. Torah is about engagement in chachma. Talmud means learn a lot, and Erech HaPayim means be calm, be loving, be chill out, just take it easy, and create this chamber, create this cave. So here, the Reb Shimon mashal of the cave, it's not just the cave of practically I'm in a cave, nothing is bothering me. It's that I'm in a cave and nothing internally is bothering me either. I'm cool, I'm chilled. And now I could really let the Torah speak to me. But before that, the message of the Torah can't penetrate to me if it's the sichliistic message of the fine chakira, or if it's the Musar message, or the Hasidic message, or the philosophical message, whatever you're trying to gain, you're not going to feel it, you're not going to seal it because you're bekas. You don't see anything. You're just stuck in this other world. And truly, I hope anybody who is bekas is another reason to get out of that. It's not just going to make your life bad. You're not going to engage well. Okay. Really, the other part of what this relates to is making yourself for learning, right? It's a hachana. I could just walk in, and I know, again, I don't really know all the people listening to this, but I know many people that are listening to this are we get to engage in Torah in all different types and times. Sometimes, you just, broke yourself away from your work to turn on the Daf Yomi shir or something. And here the point is like, before you learn, get yourself in a matzah of Kabbalah. Get yourself in a matzah, into a situation, a mindset of I'm not agitated, I'm not uptight, I feel good. And now I can learn. I think that's good. So here's the Kabbalah. And I'm the reason I'm really happy, because before I had this insight, it's not no big onus over here. I didn't know at all how do we work with I didn't know how do we work with Erech HaPayim B'chlal, and it seemed to me like something important. How do we work with it? How do I work with that? Especially if we're not so angry. We're not angry, but we're all agitated sometimes. We're all agitated. So now it's like you're upset that this thing didn't work out. Your kid, or you spent too much time with this, or your wife, or your husband, and now okay, but now you open up a Gemara, Afal Pikain, I push through and open up your Gemara, you open up your Chumash Rashi, you open up your Musar Sefer, you open up your Hasidic Sefer, but you're still really angry. No, Tavin, Tavin. When you're in that situation, you're not going to learn well. That's not going to go well. It's not going to go under like that. It's just like, I'll give you a perfect example, right? I was just reading this. Someone, my friend Yosef Lin, who had this thing about having a day night with your wife, like a mini vacation, like what not to discuss. Like, don't discuss the sensitive topics. Then they're sensitive. Every couple has sensitive topics, but you want to spend nice time sometimes with your wife. So if you're like okay, let's just discuss, like, let's talk about finances right now, and like the fact that we're behind in finance, and I think you're spending too much money, and she thinks you're spending too much money. No, that's not the way to build a relationship. You need to kind of like just you go to a nice place. She's wearing her sheta, you're calm. Like, take it easy a little bit. Now you can engage in the conversation. Now you can spend time with each other. So it's like that. So Torah is such. Every time we open a set, we're trying to build a strong relationship with the Torah. certainly a strong relationship with this Rashi that's in front of us, this Gemara that's in front of us. What's this about? What's Truma about? What's Borer about? What's Hachana about? What's Muktzah about? Whatever topic you're learning, but you're trying to come together with that thing, and you have to be calm to soak in it. Okay, so I'm happy because I feel like it's not just anger, not anger. It's like agitation, uptightness, a lack of calm, etc. That's the family of stuff. And the Kabbalah I want everybody to work with is that once a day, right? Everybody's learning daily, I think, right? But maybe a few times a day. Once a day, try before you start learning to set up a situation of like a roga of calm. If you're sitting down with your chavrusa, make a point before that. Like not again, some of us maybe are more naturally like that, so it's not as important. But I think everybody should try because even if you're good at it for the future, sometimes when you're not, right? We all want to learn also when we're not calm. We want to learn when we're a little bit agitated. Like practice just taking 30 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute, and creating a situation of inner calm, inner peace, not agitation, not tightness, not capacious, whatever else is going on, right? Just like, and think like, I am now about to engage with the Dvar Hashem. I want to get this as fully as possible. I want to concentrate on this as fully as possible. And I want my matzav nafshi, I want my situation of myself to be ready for chachma and to ready to engage and try to hold with that feeling for half an hour. I think that was hopefully everybody's learning at least half an idea. If you're learning for 2 hours, it's hard to hold with it for 2 hours, not even 45 minutes. But everybody like here to be in like and now the point is just like the situation with your wife, right? You know, I don't know if anybody's ever had this experience before, but you go out with your wife and you don't like something that she said or something. If you bring that up, right, the food's going to come out. So that's going to like ruin the whole. It's going to ruin the whole atmosphere, right? Even you have to get out the fact that it upset you that she came late, but then like the half of the dinner is going to go to that. So like no, like just let it go. I'm going to let something go, and now we're going to have a nice time together. Maybe you bring up the fact probably by then you're not going to want to bring up the fact that she came late. No, like just let it go. So it's like letting go a little bit, like letting go, being calm, and now I can really engage and I can give my mind over to this Rashi. I can give my mind over to Daf Yomi, and I'm not just like sticking it in. Often the way we learn is often like stuck in our whole busy life. We could talk about this in davening also, but our whole busy life and our whole engaged life and our whole agitated life, we like stick in the 45 minutes of learning, but the learning isn't the same. So now it's like, wait. There's a lot of agitation, a lot going on. There's feelings. Okay, good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to like try to create for myself a little bit of a cave. The cave not just being my phone's off. I'm not going to be distracted. The cave being like an inner calm. I'm inner calm. I'm be'erech apayim. I'm very calm. I'm not angry at anybody. I have no tightness. And I really want to engage in this Torah. Huh? So I think that's a good thing. Half an hour a day, that little, make sure there's a space between whatever you're doing and you're learning, right? You open up the Gemara, you open up the Chumash, right? Before you start, 30 seconds, 45 seconds of calm, of serenity, of not anger, not capacious. I'm not angry at anybody. I'm not uptight with anybody. I'm putting aside whatever. Maybe I am uptight animals, but I'm putting that all aside. Baruch Hashem, I can be osik with Torah Hashem, and I want this to be like a special experience with me in this Sefer, me in this Rashi, and I'm going to hold with that feeling for half an hour. I think that's a good lemaisa for Erech Apayim. Okay? I thought we would all try. Yeah? Okay, friends. Hatzlacha Rabba. See you next week. Shalom, shalom.